Hi, besties. It's me, Katie, owner of Katie Creaty. Welcome to my very first video on this brand new YouTube channel. What you are looking at right in front of you is the very start of the first episode of a six-part series that I will be doing over the next few weeks. I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. I'm really excited to just be able to talk and hang out with you and share my passions and share my um what's the word I'm looking for? Not art flow is not a word. Process, that's the word. I'm really excited to share my process with you guys a little bit. I've never really talked out any of because I always share my time lapses of my drawings, but I've never um talked about what I was doing or why. And I think it just would be a really cool thing to kind of share with you guys. But you may ask, what is that? What is that you're drawing, Katie? What's going on here? Fear not, I will explain. So I've decided this series. I think I'm calling it Drawing Cinema. Maybe I'll think of a catchier title before I post. We'll see. Where I take some of my favorite screenshots from movies or really captivating screen caps that I just really struck me, anything like that, and redraw them in my style. And I'm planning on pairing this speed paint of my drawing with some fun voiceover from yours truly, where I can share a little bit about my process, what I'm doing, why, that kind of thing. And my favorite part of the whole thing. I am going to share fun little anecdotes or stories or fun facts about the filming of the movie of whatever I'm drawing that week. So, without further ado, if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to get into some fun little facts about Emma and maybe interrupt myself to talk about what I'm drawing and why, or whether the thing that I just drew I actually hated and ended up changing in the end, that kind of thing. Just chiming in whenever I want to. To start things off, Emma, if you're not familiar, is a film that came out in 2020, right before the pandemic hit, so I luckily got to see it in theaters, and it was amazing. It's directed by someone named Autumn de Wilde, and this is actually her directorial debut, which is amazing because I think so highly of this film. It is so beautiful. And one thing that makes sense about why it's so beautiful is that de Wilde was actually a photographer for, I think, like 30 years before she made this film. So she has a lot of history and skill and experience with composition and making whatever you're looking at just look absolutely beautiful, which she did excellently in this. Highly recommend you watch if you haven't. But even if you haven't, pretend you did, and I'll tell you all these fun little things about it, and you're gonna enjoy it. I promise. So if you haven't recognized her yet, the beautiful lady that you're looking at on screen right now is the actress Anya Taylor-Joy. She was in The Queen's Gambit, if you recognize her from that. She was in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split. She was in Split and Glass, and I think she was in X-Men movies as well. Um, she's an incredible actress. She does this role phenomenally, and she just captures Emma's spirit so well. It's a really beautiful thing. For those, though, that haven't seen it yet, what's Emma about, Katie? I don't know. Who is Emma? Blah, blah, blah. Got you. So the logline of this movie is: in 1800s England, a well-meaning but selfish young woman meddles in the lives of her friends. Now, if you know anything about me, you're like, Katie's enjoying a period piece? What? But here's the thing. This movie just hits different. It is so quirky and funny and lighthearted, but still just so beautiful and satisfying to look at. Okay, I could go on about this film for a long time, but that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to share fun little things about this movie. So let me stop myself and get into the anecdotes. Should I sing anecdotes every time I say anecdotes? Every time I say anecdotes. We'll see. So, to no one's surprise, I was not the only one highly impressed with Autumn de Wild's directorial debut, may I remind you. But in some cast and crew interviews that I found online, some of the cast had such cool and good things to say about De Wild. Like Callum Turner, who played the character Frank Turner, or Frank Churchill, if you're familiar. He also, I think, played Newt Scamander's brother in, I was about to say How to Train Your Dragon, my god. Fantastic Beasts, if you've seen those movies. Um, he was so impressed with her. He talked about how he said she was an artist and that you could feel the energy of her work in her work. And a quote from him is, "It actually feels like it's her 10th film. She is so in command on set. She does it how she wants to do it, and that early on was very exciting," which is very exciting. I wish I could have been there and just felt what he was talking about because that sounds amazing. Um, Mia Goth, who played the amazing, adorable Harriet, she talked about how she had never been on a set where they've given them so many tools at their disposal. And she specifically is talking about how they had a 2-week rehearsal before they started shooting. And in those 2 weeks, they went over major scenes and things, but they also had an etiquette trainer, a dialect coach, and a movement coach all at their disposal, which is just so cool because a bunch of these actors had never done a period piece before. Like Anya Taylor-Joy hadn't, Mia Goth hadn't. So having someone there to tell them exactly how things should work and that kind of thing is just really cool. And I love that. This movie in general is just really cool if I haven't made my personal opinion clear enough. But one thing that I really liked from watching interviews and stuff is Johnny Flynn, the guy who plays Mr. Knightley, the back of the head that you're looking at in this photo. He actually had this funny little thing that he said where the quote is, "People kept saying to me, 'Oh, you're the you're the guy that like whatever,'" and he would cut them off and say, "Well, no, I'm not the guy. I'm really just like the bystander to all these fantastic relationships. It's not that kind of story, which is great," unquote. And I agree because the romance in this movie is phenomenal, but it really does take the back burner to the rest of it, which is so good. So I'm gonna cut myself off and talk about, see this little nosebleed that I'm drawing right here. Um, if you're not familiar with the scene, I don't want to give spoilers, so I'm gonna pretend that you are familiar with this scene. If you aren't, go watch the movie. But the iconic nosebleed part. Did you know? Okay, so hold on. I gotta get really into this. So this nosebleed is iconic. It wasn't written in the script, and the director actually brought the idea up because I think she is someone who has nosebleeds a lot, so she just like kind of had it on the brain and thought it would be a good addition to the scene. But like having a nosebleed on set is not always, like easiest thing to do. Like you gotta plan for it, you gotta prep for it. So the craziest thing ever is that this nosebleed, Anya Taylor-Joy just started having one. Like this was not she it was not this nosebleed that you're looking at in this photo in the movie is something that just naturally happened to her at the exact perfect moment, which is insane. So a quote from her is, "I have no way of explaining this moment other than the spirit of Emma possessed me in that moment in time. I just had a nosebleed." And Johnny Flynn was like, "She just had the nosebleed on cue at the exact moment it said it in the script." And the two of them described it as like this weird thing that happened that gave the scene a sense of magic, and it gave it a feel that this was the right time to be doing this thing in this exact moment, which I just love. It is absolutely magical. There's the coincidence of that is just insane, and I love it. So I've realized 9.5 minutes into this voiceover that I haven't really talked about my process at all, which is kind of insane considering this 10-minute sped up time lapse is actually 4.5 hours of me drawing this picture, this painting, and I really haven't said anything about it, so I'm so sorry. But I just kind of want to say the thing I'm proudest of was my technique working on the background. I thought I really managed to capture like the lens flares in the blurriness of the background, like the bokeh, not lens flares. I don't know why I said that. I really managed to capture the bokeh of the blurred background. And the thing that I struggled the most with was there were two things. Mr. Knightley's hair, which I thought I could just get away with scribbling and then blurring it out, but it didn't really work. And Emma's mouth, which I then went back and fixed a little bit. But I really do like the end. I'm really proud of the end result. So I hope that you guys like it as well. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. And I would love to know either your thoughts on the movie or your thoughts on the drawing or anything in the comments. I want to chat with you guys. I love talking about anything and everything, especially art and movies. So please go to the comments, hang out with me. And there will be another video coming up in the next week or two. Leave me movie suggestions. Maybe I will consider it. We'll see. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.